Hey everyone, good morning to you. Good to see you nice and early before our service starts. Always so glad that you join us early. And look, it's the new look just before the service. What do you think about that? Lots of new things for you this morning. And snow as well this morning. Let's say hello to a few people. We've got all of our regulars that we're so pleased that you're always here. So Tommy's here. Hi Tommy, and I hear you've already been out on your bike delivering eggs, which is amazing. Well done you. Although I think you said you started at 5 and I don't think there was any snow at 5. I looked out of my window at 5 and there was no snow. I don't think it started till about 7 here. Nettie's here. She's proper excited that it's snowing. Lots of clapping hands and snowflakes, and that's obviously a good thing for you. But great to have you here. And Guy's here. Good to have you here. And Ruth's here, and Johnny's here. Good morning to you. And John Faraway is here. Great to have you here. Janet's here watching with us. Amazing. Nettie says that they've had virtual sleepovers at their house last night. How does that work? I guess you just don't have to have everyone there. You're just sort of virtually there. Sounds like a win to me. We're starting a new series this week, and it's called Curious, and it is really for people that are beginning to explore faith and want to know more. And we all know some of those people for whom this will be really, really good news. And so why don't we all play our part this morning and share the stream? Just hit the button and share the stream. You never know the impact that might have just because it pops up in somebody that is your friends or your family's stream and they log in this morning. So why don't you do that? This could be good news for people today. Who else have we got here with us that I can say hello to? Angie's here, Alison's here, Adrian's here. Fantastic to have all of you guys with us. Chris Ling is here, Pete Warnock's here. I was reading my book yesterday. I don't know if you have come across this amazing, amazing book, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. This is fast becoming my most favourite book ever. It is so cute. And one page in it said, be curious. Curious is the name of our series over the next few weeks. And in fact, I am curious. I want to know if you've got snow where you are. Has it arrived with you? It's here in mid-Suffolk. Is it with you wherever you are? And what are you going to do with it? Is it good news? Looking at Nettie's reaction to snow, she's really pleased that it's arrived. What are you going to do? Are you going to get out in it? Are you going to do a bit of sledging? Are you going to do a bit of building? Have you already been out in the snow? Or are you a bit like me, and are you inclined to actually shut the door and maybe just snuggle up under a blanket somewhere? Although we did wonder about having a fire pit later. I wonder if this weather is going to lend itself to a fire pit. But I want to know what it is that you're doing and how much snow you've got. Now, I know we've got people watching from all parts of the country, and I saw yesterday, Judith, are you watching this morning? Because I saw that you were doing cross-country in the snow up in Scotland. So you've already had lots of snow. But yeah, we want to know what it is you're doing with the snow this morning, and whether in your eyes it's good news or it's bad news. I parked my car right down the road this morning so that my drive is on a slope and my road is on a slope, and I thought I'll get it down the bottom of the road so that I can get out easily this morning. Obviously there wasn't very much snow first thing, and so I had to walk all the way down the road in the blizzardy conditions, but the drive was actually fine. Let's see what Tim says. Tim Sparks says, we have snow and we're going to watch it from the window. This is exactly what I want to do with snow. Yeah, I get that. Guy walked the dogs at 7. Done. Been out in the snow. Now in for the day. Yeah, I get that. Chris says, very snowy here in Colchester, sitting in the warm, just watching it today. Yeah, I get it. Ruth says, we have snow, probably go out later, but happily being inside at the moment. Ash is saying hello. They've got no snow in Zagreb. Ash is one of our partners out in Croatia, and no snow. Jealous. You welcome to it. I had a little conversation with Jess Thomas. Are you watching, Jess, this morning? Because she'd seen my Instagram picture of the snow, and they've got sunshine in South Africa where she is. I kind of wanted to swap with her. I wanted some of her sunshine. Who else have we got here? Kim's watching. Morning, Kim. I see the dog's been out already this morning, enjoying the snow. Jez Ling is here with us, and Amanda's here with us. And, oh, Tommy's telling me he's still out in the snow. Still out in the snow. What people up to? I think we vary. I think we want to know what the people with very young children are doing, although maybe they're not here. Maybe they've had to go straight out into the garden or the park, and maybe they're already building snowmen. But yeah, let us know. Let us know what's going on for you. Or if that's not for you, just let me know what you've been up to. What you've been up to over the weekend, or how's the last week been for you? What does Tanya say? Not good news, because she can't get to people that she needs to this morning. Yeah, that's tricky because the snow is hampering some people's journeys as well this morning. So yeah, we're thinking of you. Oh, but it does mean that Carl can get on with the decorating. Every cloud. Kat's watching. Good to have you with us, Kat. Oh, I'm surprised Kat's not been dragged out in the snow with the kids. Have you done that already, Kat, or is that for later? Let us know. I guess all the dog walkers are out. I don't know about the runners. Last week I had didn't I count about 20 people that I saw running on my way to the studio last Sunday, and it was frosty and it was sunny. It was beautiful. This morning, 3. I spotted 3 runners. Anyone been out for a run in the snow this morning? Julia says, my husband Robert is in Kenya and moaning about the heat. We're jealous of that. I am anyway. We've got snow in Eye, and I want to swap with him too. Yeah, I get that. Hi, Philip. Good to have you joining us. And Becky, going to go out on the sledge after church. Sounds like amazing fun. Sharon's here with us. We're starting a new series, and it's all about curious and searching and looking for faith. If someone that you know could do with hearing that, share the screen. Why don't you share the stream this morning? I'm going to go, and I'll pop back a bit later to join you, but have a look at some of the stuff that's going on in our church. everybody. Welcome to the Forge Community Church on this snowy morning. I don't know where you're watching from. Maybe you've got lots of snow, maybe you haven't got any snow, but whatever's going on for you this morning, you are so welcome here. We are this week beginning a whole new series. It's called Curious. We would love you to share the stream. This is for people primarily that are really searching for something in life, maybe just wondering if there's something missing and whether faith could be the answer to that. So we would love it if you could share, because then we could get this message out far and wide. And we hear stories of people just coming across what we're doing because of what they see in their feed. So why don't you just hit that button now and share? My name's Helen. I'm part of the staff team here at The Forge. And my job is to lead you through this service today. So let's begin by praying together. Father, I recognise that we're not together. And in some ways that feels quite difficult. And yet, in a sense, we are all together and we can be united in our coming together here this morning. Father, I just pray that as we spend this next little while together, that you will speak into our lives. Father, I know that always you have something to show us and to teach us, or simply to remind us of. And I would just ask that by your Holy Spirit, you would do that for each one of us today, that you would pour something of yourself into all of our homes, all of the places where we're engaging from today. Would you do that in your name? Amen. Ben and the band are going to lead us as we sing together. So I'll hand over to him. And he's in a really funky shirt this morning.
Well, good morning, everyone. We're going to sing together. So if it's your thing, stand to your feet.
Surrounds me. There's nothing to fear now, for I am safe with you. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. And if you are for me, who can be against me? Yeah. For Jesus, there's nothing impossible for you. When all I see are the ashes, you see the beauty. Thank you, God. When all I see is a cross, God, you see the empty tomb. Oh. So when I fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. And every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. An almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadows, you win every battle. Nothing can stand Almighty. an almighty fortress. You go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadows. You win every battle. Nothing can. Come on, let's sing that again. Almighty fortress. Almighty fortress. You go before. You go before. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. Shine in the shadows. You win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. So when I fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. And every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Thank you, Lord.
Oh, thanks, Van. Such a great start to our service and such great words that we've sung there. So much truth in there. And we're so grateful to the band that invest so much time for us to enable us to sing and to worship like that. As I said earlier, this is a new series for us called Curious, and we're going to dive straight into that. Our presentation is slightly different with this. We've got some stories and we've got a guest speaker, so it's great to hear from Leon Evans from Hales Owen. He's a friend of the Forge, has been for many, many years. So yeah, let's dive straight into Curious, and I'm going to hand over to Johnny.
You know, one thing that I know I will never ever buy is a second-hand puzzle. I mean, you see them in charity shops all the time and car boot sales and at village fates, but I think it's just because I don't think I trust anyone enough to be sure that all of the pieces are going to be in the box. I just think that with something like a puzzle, you really need all of the pieces for it to work, or else however far you get, it will just feel, well, incomplete. During the first lockdown that we had, my housemate and I decided to buy a puzzle. It kept us fairly busy as we'd never really done one before, but also because we were pretty ambitious. I mean, this thing had thousands and thousands of different pieces. When we were approaching the end, though, I thought it would be funny if I just subtly picked up one of the pieces and put it in my pocket and just pretended that somehow we couldn't finish it because this last piece was lost. Now, my housemate knows me pretty well, and so he quickly saw through my plan. But momentarily, it was funny. It was funny to see the frustration on his face after all of the hours pouring into this puzzle that we had to somehow abandon it because of this one missing piece. You know, I think that's a reflection of things that we search for in life too. It's like we have a point where we realize that we're in possession of this puzzle box of life with all the different pieces in it to make life work how we want it to. We have the piece that we need to place in order to get married, and the piece to start a family, and then a piece that we need to put in to get into the property ladder, and the money piece that's perhaps always just that little bit smaller than we'd want it to be. There's the car piece, and then there's the friends piece, and then there's the piece that holds all of the holiday memories, and the hobby piece that gives us that bit of fulfillment. Most of us spend our whole lives making sure that all of these pieces are in the right place. In fact, maybe you're someone, and when you look at these pieces and you look at your life, you can honestly say that you've done a good job. Or maybe you're someone who looks at life and thinks maybe not so much, and if only you can get your hands on that next piece, then the picture will seem that little bit more clear. Here's the thing though, and many of you will have been in this place before, when we put all of the pieces that we own in the place that we feel that they should go, it still kind of feels like there's a piece missing. I mean, just like a puzzle. However much we can see the picture, it's just not quite right or complete because there's something that should be there that just isn't. And as much as we try and ignore it or try and get another piece that obviously doesn't fit in its place, it's like it's the only piece that ever really mattered. In fact, it's the more you live with it, it becomes less and less just one piece. It becomes the piece.
I'm Karen, I'm married to Paul, and I've got 2 children, Summer and Ben. Before I found Jesus, things were good. I was content, generally happy. I don't know what it was that was missing. It just felt like we went to church at Christmas, and each year we did that again and again, and I just felt like I wanted something more than that. And we looked around various churches, but it wasn't until we came to the Forge that it felt different, it felt relevant. My mum had always said that being a Christian was being kind to your neighbours, and we didn't really go to church. So that was kind of the background that I had. That was what you did, you were kind. I think just by going to church regularly, I felt I wanted something more. I joined the Alpha course through the Forge. I had lots of questions. I was emailing in between each week to ask what I wanted to know. I asked about the dinosaurs. I think that was the first week when I was like, hang on a minute, this doesn't matter anymore. There just came that point where I didn't need to know all the answers. So one week we looked at a picture of Jesus standing at a door, and we were told that he had to be invited in, he wouldn't barge his way in. But I felt scared to open the door because I was happy as I was, and I was scared as what would happen if I did let him in. One night when I was at home, I prayed to ask Jesus to come into my life, and nothing happened. And then the next week, I told Steve about that, and he then prayed for me, and I just felt overcome with emotion. I really felt that was the night where I became a Christian. So even though I'd said the prayer myself, it was that night with everybody else there.
Frodo began to feel restless, and the old path seemed too well trodden. He looked at maps and wondered what lay beyond their edges. Maps made in the Shire showed mostly white spaces beyond its borders. And you know, Frodo from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, he senses what many of us sense deep down. There must be more to life. We sense there must be more than what we can see, touch, eat, wear, buy, or put in our hair. We sense there's a missing piece, and without it, the picture isn't quite complete. A little bit like this jigsaw I've got right here. There's a picture on the front. It's a 1,000-piece jigsaw. Imagine getting to the end. You've all done it, 999, and you just can't find that last piece, the missing piece. For me, that's where faith comes in. Okay, here's the God bit, I hear you say. I'm out. Wait. We will come to the God bit, but first, let's think about the faith bit. You see, faith is literally a confidence or a trust in a person, a thing, or a concept. In one sense, everyone has faith, but what that faith has to offer depends on what or who that faith is in. First, prove to me there's a God, then we can chat about faith, I hear you say. Well, if you can't explain something with the 5 senses, does that mean it can't be true? In other words, the 5 senses, you know, see, hear, touch, taste, or smell. But is that a rational position? Let's take love. You can't see it. What about freedom? You've never smelt it. But we've experienced both, and we sense that they're true. And whilst it's true that you can't put God in a test tube or under a microscope, but you can't do that with love or freedom either. So instead of looking for proof, what if we considered evidence? Many years ago, I was a young kid, and some of the older girls in our street used to push me around the street on my bike, and my mum used to say, one day you're going to get hurt. But I was a cocky little lad, and so I said, where's the evidence for that? Well, one day, there I am at our front door, banging on the front door, screaming because my lip has burst open and blood is spurting out. There was the evidence in front of me. Let's consider the evidence for the existence of God before we talk about what faith has to offer. The first thing is this: cause and effect. This is where we think that science has disproved God. Far from it. The Big Bang discovery hasn't unraveled the notion of faith in God, but actually suggests evidence for the existence of God. Remember a guy who I knew many years ago was a famous preacher in the UK, and he was on a TV show along with an atheist, and the atheist says, you as a Christian expect us to believe that something created something out of nothing. That's ridiculous. To which the guy said, and you expect us to believe that nothing created something out of nothing. Which is the more ridiculous option? Number 2, design and order. Designs imply a designer. You know, what came from the Big Bang? It wasn't chaos, it was order. In fact, the speed of our planet is such that if it was to increase by 1.4 times, we would fly out of the solar system. The problem with evidence is it's easy for us to deny the evidence that points towards conclusions that we are uncomfortable with. Physicist Stephen Hawking, he said, it would be very difficult to explain why the universe should have begun in just this way, except as the act of a God who intended to create beings like us. And he wasn't a person of faith, and yet that's what the evidence suggested. Voltaire, a writer and philosopher, very critical of Christianity, he said this: if God did not exist, it would be necessary for us to invent him. Chance is not an explanation. It's a non-explanation. It doesn't make rational sense. But you know, there's a third evidence, and I think it's this. It's changed lives. Maybe the most powerful evidence of all. People who've discovered that there's more to life than what they've already seen. So what does faith in God have to offer? Let me give you some ideas. Firstly, I think it offers some sense. You see, we sense that there's more. We sense that there's something missing, and faith in God makes sense. Now, let me be clear. There's a lot that doesn't make much sense to me, even with faith in God. But without faith, it makes no sense at all. We have 2 sons, and our youngest son, who's in his 20s now, Simeon, when he was about 2, was diagnosed with learning disabilities, complex special needs, autism, and we were told as young parents he would never live an independent life. And it was devastating for us, and it's difficult even now. And sometimes it doesn't make any sense. But without God, without faith, it makes no sense at all. And then there's meaning, the meta-narrative, the big story of the world and how my life fits into that. And then I think faith has to offer purpose. Why am I here? What can I contribute to the world? And then there's resource, strength beyond myself. There was this kid in a sandbox, and he had a big rock in the middle of the sand, and he couldn't move it, and he tried everything he could. And eventually there was a shadow appeared over him, and he looked up and he saw his dad, and his dad bent down and moved the rock, and the kid could carry on playing. The kid said to his dad, "Dad, I tried everything and I couldn't move the rock." The dad said, "No, son, you didn't try everything. You didn't ask me." That's what faith in God, it brings a resource and a strength outside of yourself. And then finally, there's peace. Not like a piece of the puzzle, but the peace. And Jesus put it this way: I give you the gift of peace, not the kind of fragile peace given by the world, but my perfect peace. What does faith have to offer? Sense, meaning, purpose, resource, and peace. I think that's what most of us sense deep down is missing. And just like Frodo, will we let that restless feeling cause us to venture out from our paths and maps and look beyond? Maybe then we could find for ourselves that missing piece. Curious? I hope you are.
So the Mully family were baptised that next weekend, and at the end of their baptism, when it was asked if anybody else wanted to come forward, I just heard a voice in my head saying, "Yes, me," and I could feel a physical force trying to push me forwards, and I felt like everybody else would be able to feel that. I didn't do anything about it. I didn't know what baptism was. I didn't even know if it was relevant to me at the time. So the next week at Alpha, one of the topics was baptism, and it was really interesting all the way along that I seemed to be one step ahead each time. It wasn't just what I was listening to on the week that was then having an effect. It was kind of all happening ahead of that, and that was, again, another proof to me that it was real what I was experiencing. The next week I spoke to Chris Cobbold, who was leading the church at the time, and arranged my baptism with him. I think it was watching everybody else on the course as well, particularly like Claire and Andy Mully, and seeing them and seeing all the kind of positivity from them. I think that made a difference. So I think I was just aware of things that would otherwise have passed as coincidences, things that didn't quite make sense, that I would have just brushed off. For example, we saw Luke and Leanne Allard with 2 girls that weren't speaking English, had a chat with them and found they were from the Chernobyl Children's Lifeline. And then after that, every time I opened a newspaper or a magazine, there was an article about them. And then the final straw was when I opened a newspaper just to clean the children's shoes. I wasn't even reading it, and there was an article right on the top about the charity again. And so I spoke to Paul, and he was surprisingly open-minded. So we ended up hosting a little girl that year for a month, and since then we've hosted 6 children from Belarus. I wouldn't have thought twice about it, but it was just being aware of those things that kept coming back, and I just felt God was speaking to me. I think I have to remind myself to put Jesus into my life. It's very easy to carry on and just go day by day on your own, in your own control. So I think I have to consciously remind myself to be reading my Bible and to be using my journal, which I found really useful, to pick up on those coincidences, because otherwise, especially with life being so busy, it's really easy just to let things go past and not actually relate them together and realise that's something God's trying to say to you. I think I would say Jesus is the encouragement I need to do things and to realise that I can do them because I know that he's going to be there. So I think if somebody was interested in looking further into who Jesus was, I would definitely recommend the Alpha course. I think that was amazing. It was such a safe place to ask questions and a lot of information. It wasn't just questions from us. It was a really good course, really, and information coming through. So I definitely recommend doing that.
Hey, be honest, have you ever wondered if there's more? Have you ever wondered if that sense of something missing really can be filled? Well, we all spend our lives trying to fill it in with more stuff, or maybe a philosophy about how none of it really ultimately matters. Well, I don't believe either of those things really work. I believe that there is someone who ultimately, however empty our lives might feel, fills in the gap. In fact, I believe more than that. I believe that faith in Jesus and following him fills in the whole picture, that it's him that ultimately gives us life and purpose to our lives. So whoever you are, however much you believe that or are cynical about the prospect, I just want to ask you a question. How much time do you spend? And how much money have you spent? And how many people have you put your hope in order that you might feel slightly more satisfied in life? And isn't exploring faith just worth the chance to fill in that gap? Isn't spending some time with us on this series worth your time just in case? Lee Mack, the comedian, once said on Desert Island Discs, where you get to pick a book that you would bring if you were stranded on a desert island, along with the complete works of Shakespeare and the Bible. He decided that he would take Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time. He reasoned that as he would be spending time thinking about why he was there on the island, he could also maybe spend time considering why any of us are here at all. But then he picked up on the fact that he would also have a Bible. And he said this, I'm glad you get the Bible, because I would read the Bible. I think it's quite odd that people like myself in their 40s quite happily dismiss the Bible, but have never read it. I always used to think that if an alien came down and you were the only person they ever met, and they said, well, what's life all about? What's Earth all about? Tell us everything. And you said, well, there's this book here that purports to tell you everything. Some people believe it to be true, some people do not believe it to be true. And wow, what's it like, they say. And you go, well, I don't know, I've never read it. It would be an odd thing, wouldn't it? So at least it's worth a read. You know, I think that Lee Mack has a point. Perhaps the Bible seems a daunting place to start. Perhaps you've had a negative experience of church in the past, and if that's true, I'm really sorry. Perhaps you've previously dismissed religion altogether, and that's okay. I just want to invite you as we journey together, as we ask the big questions, perhaps the biggest question of life. I want to invite you to be curious, and you might find more than you ever thought.
And you know, if that is you, if you are feeling curious, we would love to help you with your journey. You could put the prayer hands emoji in the comments, or you can contact us at info@forgechurch.com. We would love to help you with your curiosity. The band are going to sing in a moment or two to conclude our service for us. But just before they do, I would just like to pray. And maybe you want to make this prayer your own. I'm going to pray words that might help people that are just beginning to explore faith and who Jesus is. People that are curious. And if you want to make this your own, then do. Let's pray. God, you know me, and you know my heart. And you know how I have tried to complete life on my own, where I have put my time and my money, the people I've spent time with, and yet I still find that there is something missing. And today, God, I wonder if that's you. And it's you that could bring sense and purpose to my life. And so whilst I don't understand it all now, and I have questions, I want to begin this journey with you. Would you come and would you help me in my curiosity? In Jesus' name, amen.
Unreserved, unrestrained, your love is wild. Your love is wild for me. It isn't shy, it's unashamed. Your love is proud to be seen with me, to be seen with me. You don't give your heart in pieces. And you don't hide yourself to Jesus. Uncontrolled, uncontained, your love is fire, burning bright for me. It's not a spark, not just a flame. Your love is light for all the world to see. For all the world to see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't give your heart in pieces. You don't hide yourself to Jesus. Don't give your heart in pieces. You don't hide yourself to Jesus. Your love's not fragile, not a troubled mind. It isn't anxious, not the restless kind. Your love's not passive, never disengaged. Love keeps its promise, it hangs on every word you say. Love keeps its promises, it keeps its word. It honors what's sacred, and its plans are good. Your love not broken, it's not insecure. Your love's not selfish, your love is pure. You don't give your heart don't hide yourself to teaser. So we give it all to you in return, God. So why should my heart fear? Giving you everything again. And I surrender. And I surrender all. And I surrender all. And all to you, my precious Savior. I surrender all. Just one more time, just the voices. And I surrender all. I surrender all. And all to you, my precious Savior. I surrender all. Here I am, down on my knees again, surrendering all, surrendering all. Find me here, Lord, as you draw me near. I'm desperate for you. Desperate for you. I surrender. Drench my soul. Drench my soul. His mercy and grace unfold. A hunger and thirst. A hunger and thirst. With arms stretched wide, I know you hear my cry. Speak to me now. Speak to me now. I surrender. I surrender. I wanna know you more. I wanna know you more. I surrender. I surrender. I wanna know you
What a just brilliant sentiment. We say yes and amen to that. Wherever you're at on this journey, whether you are just someone that's just curious, maybe holding God at arm's length and just looking with one eye open, or whether you have fully embraced who God is, what a marvellous sentiment to go into the week with. I want to know you more. We can always know more of God and allow him to have more of us. Let's take that away with us this week, shall we? That's the end of our service here today. So glad that you have joined us. Go and enjoy the snow, or wrap up warm and stay inside, whatever suits you. We've got loads of online content during the week we would love you to engage with, and we would love you to come back next week for week 2 of Curious. Goodbye.